Hey YouTube, first video we went to the swap meet. Second video I believe we annealed the steel. So we put the file into the campfire, let it get super red hot, and then let it cool down, remembering to set it on the embers as much as possible and not over any larger hard pieces that would cause it to warp. So we went from this in the next video to this. And this is where we are now. We drew it out on paper. You remember all that? We cut it out, and we used the angle grinder to shape it. And so now we sort of just have a rough cutout. One thing I'm going to do, and in my drawing, I decided that even though that little kind of rounded handle looked cool, I wanted to try to do something more along the lines of an angle. So I took a hand file and I just sort of started filing and kind of drew out where I want to have maybe a little cutout. So I'm going to do a little more angle grinding and get that round. I'm going to round that out and kind of fix my hand a little bit. It's real easy to do. We've covered it in the other videos. In fact, I made a video specific on how to cut out a knife, which is where we came up with this one here. So that's another video if you want to go check it out real quick and kind of brush up on how I cut out from a file. A little bit more of a curvature to it, and then I think we'll take this down just a hair. It's really easy. Really easy. I say that, and some people are like, yeah, it's really easy. If you've never used an angle grinder before and you've never used one of these flap wheels before, you might be a little, I don't know, nervous or just, hesitant to just get in there. But that's the best way to do this. Just get in there and grind on it. And buy a bunch of files. Look at the files I have. I got all kinds. You know what? If I screw one up, toss it. Who cares? Or whatever. Or practice on it. But yeah, get one of these flap wheels made for steel. 60 grit is what I've been using. It works really well, and it allows you to have a lot of control and forming the handle a little bit. So. That looks pretty good. So, here we are. I like everything about the way that this is formed. It's a good small knife. And again, that's what this project is all about, just showing you how to make a little knife and how you can make adjustments along the way if you like. I changed that handle. You know, originally I was going to keep that paddle handle, but I changed it. So, all right. So the next step is I'm going to briefly explain to you on how to make one of these. There is a guy on YouTube, Go Customs, and I think it's pronounced Go, but it's like G-O-U-G-H Customs knives, and he will show you exactly how to build this. And I really like his videos and everything, but a lot of stuff, he has a very nice shop. He has a lot of expensive tools, and while he does do a good tutorial on how to use simple tools, you know, I just prefer to get out the old angle grinder and the vise and make stuff out of files and everything. You know, he buys some very expensive steel. He has a very expensive heat treating method, and he makes some fantastic stuff. But for you and me that make stuff in our shop in our spare time and kind of pull together tools as we can, and we're not, you know, hopefully you're not watching this to make these things professionally. They make great Christmas gifts. But anyhow, you go to his video if you want to see how to make this. Essentially it's just some 1x4, and you've got one long piece on the bottom, a shorter piece that goes just short of the width of another piece here. So you can probably figure that out without getting too much tutorial. And then another piece that goes across here. I don't think the measurements are too important. The idea here is that this whole thing fits in a vise. Like so. And I'll get on my level later and make sure that I've got it as level as possible. But the idea, alright, so once you clamp this thing down and you've leveled it off, you get a double cut bastard file. I get a Nicholson. This is a long, this is like a 13-inch or something like that. I'm not sure, but it's, you know, get a bigger one and put a couple hose clamps on it. Clamp it to a long metal rod. Metal rod will go through an eye screw here. You'll have your knife clamped here. I'll go into more detail, but just give you a general idea of the idea. And that's how we're going to put our bevel on. So, be back in a jiffy. Alright, so we've completed a little bit more on there. Takes a while. Just place your knife, position it where when the file bumps up against this post, you're just hitting where you want your cut in to be for the ricasso. So right about here. And then I went and got one of these. I think these are typically like a welding clamp, but I got one of these, and this thing seems to work pretty well. And you just work your way up, work your way up, work your way up. And then every once in a while, twist this a few, lowering this, changing the angle so that you can remove more material a little bit faster. And that's where we are. Alright. Making a little more progress there. Just takes a lot of elbow grease. But I think that we are maintaining a fairly equal line there. So let's keep at it. When you're cutting this little piece here, you want to go against the bolt. Remember we filed these off. Go against the bolt and just kind of lift up on this side a little bit. So you're cutting in and you're lifting up, kind of a roll. Kind of helps you make that cut. Now we want our sides to be even. So get rid of some of that dust. Alright, so this was our first side. First side has about there, and the new side, well, we have quite a bit to go. I want to make sure we match up about the same, so just going to make a little mark about here. So then we know we want to get rid of this. But that'll just help me eyeball it when I'm there. I know that's about how far. If we remove that, we'll be about the same. And right about there. But you can always turn it over if you go too far and grind on it some more. Now we want to make sure we're matching up our ricasso. So right about there is, that's right where we're at. Alright, let's keep on it. And now, because we took away material on the other side, it's lifting a little bit. Alright, so I think that looks pretty good. We're going to do a lot of sanding on this. Haven't even come to the fun part yet. We do lots of sanding. That's where we put it on this guy here. And we have our sanding block, which I'll go into later, and we're going to sand the heck out of this thing to get it cleaned up. First, take a look at this shape. See if we like the shape. I like the shape. I like the feel. I think we're about even. Once we start sanding this, it'll all look a lot better. But all right, well, let's. Now you've cut your bevel. You've made sure that it looks good on both sides. You've cut in your ricasso, and now let's clean her up.